The waiver has been a critical issue or strategy in terms of developing or using revenue to develop community services. You can see 85% of the $915 million in your state system now, that's counting SSI and the Adult Disabled Child Program, the Social Services Block Grant, as well as all the Medicaid money and other state funds. But 85% of it, $774 million, is associated with the waiver, primarily the waiver and ICFMR money. The number of waiver participants in the United States has grown from literally nothing in 1981 to nearly 500,000 persons on the Home and Community-Based Services waiver in 2006. Your growth got started late. You didn't get into the waiver program until 1990. We had 3 people in it. And then it increased to about 3,000 people by 2002, and 3,800 people, and then nearly doubled the next year in 2003, and you're at nearly 11,000 people now in 2008. In terms of the utilization of the waiver, you're utilizing the waiver at roughly half of what the state of Minnesota is utilizing it at, as you can see. This is spending per citizen of the general population, not per citizen with a developmental disability of the general population, but per citizen. So you can get a sense of how aggressive has the state been in drawing down waiver dollars. And you can see Indiana's right in the middle of the comparison states, but Minnesota is very much ahead of the rest of this region in terms of the degree to which it's utilized the waiver on a per capita basis. You rank 31st, very much near the middle of the states with respect to the utilization of the waiver at $61 per every man, woman, and child in the state of Indiana. That's what that measure shows, $61. But comparison states in the region that lead you in this regard include Minnesota at $169, Wisconsin at $82, Michigan at $71. So you're 4th in the region in this regard. You use the waiver for many purposes. These are all listed on the slide here. I won't go over them with you, but they range from case management to community transition. The waiver services not provided, to some extent to my surprise, include assistive technology, community integration training, communication devices, quite surprising, nutritional counseling, private duty nursing. Let me now switch to supported living and talk about the importance of this particular initiative in the state. The way we define supported living includes choice, ownership by someone other than the service provider, and individual support. We had nearly 6,200 people in 2008 receiving that service. You can see how it has grown since the year 2000, grown quite dramatically. And you are performing at roughly the same rate as the average comparison state, for which we only have data through 2006. So you're continuing to grow supported living at a quite significant pace. In terms of families supported here in Indiana, we identified with the state agency a total of 5,000 families. We define family support in a fairly comprehensive way and give states guidelines about what they should include in it. It includes cash subsidy. You do not have a cash subsidy program here in Indiana, something you might want to consider. Some of the other Midwestern states do. And you do lag the comparison states in the area of family support participants per capita, and lag it rather significantly. As you can see, Indiana is in the red here, and the comparison states is the dotted blue line, and the U.S. is the green. So family support could use some family support. I'm going to talk now about the level of effort you've been putting fiscally, financially, into supporting services in Indiana in general. It's really quite revealing. This chart shows 30 years of funding for DD services in the U.S. and compares it to Indiana. And when you start out 30 years ago, you're way behind the U.S., as you can see. And you have this long period where you were, I don't know how to describe where you were during this era, but you were not of this earth. And then along came a new governor who saw the light, committed resources with your legislature and your administrative leadership in FSSA, and you raced forward ahead of the average American state rather significantly as you began to emphasize community services and family supports in a very serious way. You then closed your remaining institutions, and you see a decline in fiscal effort because you now have some resources that have been, we might say, conserved as you close those institutions, and which are, we might say, or shall we say, awaiting deployment in the future for growing additional community services, family supports, and supported employment. So you're once again, which is rare for your 30-year history, right at the national average for the proportion of your state's wealth that you're allocating for DD services. Very quickly now, as we move through some of the factors influencing demand, we know about the growing number of Americans aged 65 and over. It'll double between the year 2000 and 2030. That'll impact our service delivery system in a significant way. About 100,000 people with developmental disabilities currently live with family caregivers here in Indiana, and roughly 15,000 of those individuals are age 16 or 60 plus. Many of those clients will be on your current waiting list. We know that people with developmental disabilities are living longer. That's increased significantly in the past, and speculation is that those without severe impairment can be expected to live as long as those in the general population.